Hello. In this video, we will show how to create project drawings for the deep foundations we add to the model. Now we go to the Analysis menu. Here we click the Foundation Analyses button. This opens the Foundation Analyses window. Another quick way is to use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl plus the A key. Now let's switch to the Deep Foundation Drawing and Quantity tab. From the foundations list above, we select the foundation we want to draw. Here we select Foundation 1. Under this foundation, we have cast-in-place reinforced concrete rigid columns. So we need to define the material properties. Here we set the concrete class to C25 and the steel class to S420A. Next, we click the Structural Properties button. When we click this button, the program calculates the minimum reinforcement for all rigid columns under the foundation. And it shows the results as a table on the screen. Now let's click Deep Foundation Drawings and create the drawings. As you can see, the drawing sheets are created automatically. Now let's review these sheets. On the first sheet, we see a perspective view of the deep foundations in the model. Here, to see clearer drawings, you can filter objects in the 3D view before creating the drawings. On the second sheet, we see the rigid column layout plan. On the third sheet, we see a section of the foundation, including the soil layers. On the last sheet, we see the details of the reinforced concrete rigid columns. On this sheet, we also see the reinforcement quantity table. When we right-click on this window, we see the option to save all drawings as a DWG file. By clicking Drawing Settings, we can change values in the drawings, like the text height. Now let's close this window and return to Foundation Analyses. Now let's change the diameters of some rigid columns under the foundation. For this, we click the diameter cells in the table and set the values. When we double-click a cell, a window opens to enter the column diameter. Here we set the column diameter to 80 centimeters. Also, we can select multiple columns and change their diameters together. Now we select 3 columns, double-click, and set their diameters to 80 centimeters again. Then we click the Apply button. We can also change the reinforcement of rigid columns from this table. Now let's change the longitudinal reinforcement of one column. We double-click the related cell and set the bar count to 12. We set the bar diameter to 24 mm and click Apply. In addition, we can also change the rigid column length. We double-click the cell and change the length of one rigid column. We set the length to 11 meters and click Apply. So we update the diameter, reinforcement, and length for several rigid columns. We can also change other reinforcement types, like spiral bars, circular rebar, and Z-shaped bars. After these changes, we click Structural Properties again to create updated drawings. Then we click Deep Foundation Drawings one more time. As you can see, the drawings are created again. As a result, on the reinforced concrete details sheet, different rigid columns are drawn as separate details. Now let's save these drawings as a DWG file. Here we right-click on the screen. We click the Export button. Here we enter a file name for the foundation drawings. We click the Save button. So we save the drawings to the selected folder in DWG format. Now we close this window and return to Foundation Analyses. Next, let's create drawings for the polygonal foundation number 2. Here we select foundation number 2. Then we click the Structural Properties button. As you can see, all defined rigid columns appear on the screen. Now we click the Foundation Properties button and create the drawings. So we create the drawings for the polygonal foundation. Now let's right-click and save these drawings as DWG. We close the window and return to Foundation Analyses. Now we select the foundation named Foundation 3. When we select it, we see that the drawing buttons are inactive. This is because there is no rigid column group defined under this foundation. Now we select the foundation named Foundation 4. Then we click the Structural Properties button. Next, we click the Deep Foundation Drawings button. So we create the drawings for the circular foundation in the model. For this foundation, the reinforced concrete details sheet is not created, because the rigid column group under this foundation is defined as jet grouting columns. Now we right-click and use Export to save the drawings for this foundation too. We close the window and return to Foundation Analyses. Now we open AutoCAD or a similar CAD program. Here we click Open and load the drawings we created. As you can see, all drawings open in DWG format. This completes how to create drawings for the deep foundations we add to the model. In the next video, we will explain the quantities for deep foundations. Thanks for watching.